Hello everybody and welcome back to another video from myself. Now today we are looking at my computer. That's right. It's been asked for a few times and I've never got round to doing it, and sort of what steered me to doing it was when Dino PC sort of said, we'd love to see what your computer's become and how it looks. So the video is probably going to be very terrible in this sense, but the pictures that I shall be posting with it as well should be much better to give a clearer indication of what it is. Okay, so let's jump into it. 2 years ago I started a uni course doing games and I needed a really decent PC to work with. So I'd done some chopping around and I was going to do what everybody else done, and I was going to go to PC World and pick up probably their most high-end machine. Thank God I never done that. So what I'd done is I'd done my research and it was suggested to me to get a custom built PC. So someone that makes a PC and sends it out to you, and it's all done by hand. I know the ones in PC World are probably done by hand, but they're not as good as a custom built one. And they don't come with a decent spec. So I shipped around, I looked, and I found Dino PC. Now, they have been amazing to me from start to finish on making a computer. So when I originally looked, I didn't email them, I didn't do anything. I just thought, do you know what? I'm going to order this machine and see what it comes like. And my God, when it arrived at my door, I was probably the happiest lad in the planet. Booted it up and I absolutely loved it. It was great, it was fast, it done everything I wanted it to do. And, you know, it was just amazing, and I gave Dino PC so much praise on their forums, and it was just great. From there on, I continued to work with them though on looking after their forums for them, helping advice, and just supporting them if I could on the forums. One less job for them to do, I guess. And it was great fun, and it's dying down, so please revisit the forums. Get it back up to scratch, ask about your systems, and I'll help you hopefully give good advice on what to purchase. So the Dino PC machine was great and I loved it and everything, but I wanted more. It done every game to high to ultra, but I wanted more. So the original spec PC that I bought was the Zalman Z11 case, which is totally different to this, and I will put pictures up as best as I can of my old components. But yeah, it was a Zalman Z11 case. My God, it was lovely. It was a beast of a case, and I just thought it looked great. So I had the Zalman Z11 case, and that was all great, and packed inside of it had a Sheldon, or a Coolmaster Sheldon 120V water cooler. Perfectly fine, loved it, and it kept everything nice and cool. So at the time, the full spec of the system was the Zalman Z11 case, an Intel i5 4670K, and they'd overclocked it at their offices to 4.2 gigahertz. It was running a Corsair 550 watt VS power supply, a GTX 660, 1 terabyte hard drive, the CD player, 16 gigs of normal bog standard RAM, and then the motherboard was a Z80s. I can't remember the motherboard. I will post that. But it was amazing. But I got bored of it very quick. I wanted more power. I wanted more speed from that thing. So that's where I started hunting around. And at the time, the computer was only 2 months old and I saw the launch of the GTX 780 Ti. Now there's a video of me unboxing it and placing it in an old machine and how cramped it was. But I purchased it, I went ahead with it, and it was the big sort of thing that I could say I changed on a computer and I knew I could do it. And that thing was amazing in that small case as well. Then it must have been a couple of months later, again I wanted to upgrade the power supply. So I changed the power supply from the 550 watt to a Corsair GS 800. And the only reason I went with that was the LEDs, because I am a light freak when it comes to computers. So I purchased that all because it had multicolour changing LEDs and I wanted blue. So we went ahead and we done that. At the same time, the memory got upgraded to this stage and it hasn't changed since. So whereas before I was running 1600 megahertz RAM with Samsung, I think it was, I'm now running the Crucial Ballista tactical tracers, and they're just 16 gig, and I think the same speed or they might be 1866, I believe. So then after that it stayed still, and it wasn't until last summer, not the one just gone, the one before, I done my next big upgrade, which was everything got changed, and I saved up so much money for this. And this was the change where I got my new case, my new motherboard, and a new CPU cooler. So at this stage I felt that I was getting a big case. I didn't want the V12 anymore. I needed something more powerful. So instead, what I'd done was I bought the Corsair H100i along with the Corsair 760T, which is just amazing, and I don't think I could ever change this case. And then I also went for the motherboard, which is the Gigabyte Z87G1 Gaming, something along them lines. It might be stitched on there actually. Is it on there? Is it on there? Gigabyte GAZ97 X Gaming GT. So I went with that, and that's where the blue ended for me. Blue as a theme ended, and we went with red. And that's when I thought, because the motherboard was all red and it glows red, and I just thought, right, sod it, I'm not going to have too many colours. Red is what we're going for. As things continued to go on, I left the PC for a little bit longer. And then it wasn't until this year when I thought, I want to delve into my own cooling setup. And it was insane of me, and I did not know what I was doing. I watched a few videos of Linus Tech Tips, and I asked Dino PC if they had any tips, and they just said measure and make sure you get the right parts. I'm sorry to report, Dino PC, I blanked your information and I just purchased what I thought was right. And it worked. At the same time as this, I also bought my Corsair HX1000i. Now you may ask, why the 1000i? Why not an AX 1200, whatever their power supplies are? Okay, so I was going to go for the top dog, the 1500 watt AX, the titanium series I think it is, the highest rated power supply. However, I didn't feel the need for it. I was only running one graphics card. If I was to chuck another one in, it's going to touch nowhere near 1000 watts. If I went to the 900 series, again, it's nowhere going to touch the 1000 watts. So I gave that idea up, and I thought, why don't I lower the spec to an AX power supply? And then again, I come across that I didn't need to do that, because the HX1000i was a fully digital power supply, and it outputs an amazing amount of performance, and I thought the performance per pound was just not there to justify spending the extra to have a red chunk in here. However, I am looking at sending possibly the cases off or doing it myself to strip this power supply down and get it coated in the same red as the cables. So that may work, that may not work, and I'm yet to decide what I do there. But at the same time, like I say, I delved into my own custom water cooling setup, and I went for the blood red fluid with red piping. Now I wish I went clear piping so I could see the fluid in there, but at the end of the day, I'm not that picky about it, and I love the way it looks at the moment. So we went for 2 radiators, big chunky ones at 240 millimeters each, and you may argue that I do not need the 2 radiators. Now you are right, I don't need 2 radiators to keep that thing cool. That runs at a lovely 28 degrees on idle and a lovely 45 degrees under load. Now that could be due to the 2 coolers, it could be due to their big radiators and they're cooling well, who knows. I don't need the second one. However, when this or the future card gets cooled, it's getting put into that loop, and the second radiator will help it a lot. Now, to improve the flow through these radiators, because they are chunky, we currently are rocking the Corsair SP 120s. Now, I will be looking very shortly to change them up again and try a bigger static pressure fan. Now, I'm all for trying new things on PCs, and it's so difficult because they cost so much, but I will chuck anything in here, and I will purchase things if I've got the money to throw into this PC, because it's just amazing. So with the red piping, with the HX1000i, I also went for the red braided cables by Corsair, and I must admit, these are the best cables in the world. They are lovely, they match the build, they're very sharp red, and it just sets it all off. So this what makes my 760T case from Corsair unique to my own. Now, we're coming back to the piping, and when I made this, I envisioned red pipe where you could see red everywhere with white fittings that match the case. And luckily, on EBWK, or whatever the site is called, they have the white fittings. Now they're just subtle, you don't notice them too much, but it's enough to say they're there and it matches the case. So when I look at this computer from afar, I just think, wow. But it is an amazing PC, and I think I've done wonders creating this, and I just wanted to share it and let all of you know what it looks like. So it has come a long way from Dino PC, and since the day that they had it, I must admit I wanted to change it so much, but I was always congratulated towards them. They'd done an amazing job on the original machine, and I don't think I would have ever stomached building one myself or changing as much as I have if they wasn't there, or if they didn't design my original PC. I would have got them to do the custom cooling as well. I was tempted to drive up there and do it, but at the time they didn't do the custom cooling. Some features about this case that I really like is cable space. So I'm just going to bring you round to the back here, and you will have to excuse the mess, but check that out. I can fit my water pipes down into this PC at the back. It's just amazing that I'm able to do that from such a, looks like a flimsy case. There's not a lot to it, but it is just amazing. So this is, like I say, the improvements from Dino PC. The only things, there's three things in this build that have made it from out their door and are still in this PC today. And that is my CPU cooler, although it has been overclocked more. I now overclock it to 4.5 gigahertz, and the hard drive and the CD-ROM bay. So I have practically changed everything, and I do advise people to really, if they've got the time and they've got the money, to have a go, try things, because I must admit that custom cooling loop, following a few tutorials and sort of going in there, I was able to do it, and it wasn't that difficult. It didn't surprise me, nothing bit me in the backside. It was just a dream to do. It just took time, and as long as you can sit back and relax while it does its thing, and you've got a whole day to spend on it, you are able to do this. So let's power it on quickly. I really want to show you what it's like when it's all powered on. So the computer itself does make a little bit of noise. Now this is partly down to the reservoir down here. Now the reservoir is not supported in there well, and it tilts off to the side, leaning on the radiator, and it causes a little bit of vibrations. But the fans on this PC are practically off. So the one at the back does virtually nothing. That just runs at a nice standard 8,000 RPM, I believe that's set to. The ones on the two on the top here and the two in the front, they are running at 800 RPM, and they do not ramp up, and I'm getting 45 degrees Celsius when I'm gaming. That power supply, again, that fan never turns on. That fan is always off on that thing because there's not enough power being drawn for the 1000 watts. So the power supply is always off. And then the graphics card, that just is loud because it's a stock cooler, it's probably dusty to hell, and it's just not, you know, it's old, it's dated. I need a new graphics card. 980 Ti would be nice. But that is my computer as it is today. It's not going to be changing in the foreseeable future, I don't believe yet, unless I'm able to get some parts really cheap, or reviewers' parts, things like that. It's staying in its set form. So what I want to say at the end of my video is thank you very much, Dino PC, for giving me that original spec computer that allowed me to transform it into this monster. I really do recommend, if time is short, budget is tight as well, to go to Dino PC. They will help you out. Come to the forum, come and talk to me and the admins that monitor the forum, and we will help you get the best deal for the best performance. At the end of the day, you can always change it, and from what has been probably an £800 PC, over time it would have still ran in that original state and not struggled on any games. But you can also put the money into it to upgrade it. So Dino PC, you really need to go check them out, purchase a machine from them if you can. Their reviews are amazing, their support is amazing, and I can't wait. In a couple of weeks I'm going up there hopefully to test a couple of their one of their big machines that they've just made, a custom water cool, which I will link the video to show you that off as well. So all I want to say now is thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, although it's just practically footage of my computer in a still state, but there's plenty of pictures as well to be shown. And I hope this was quite informative about my computer and how it has got to the position it is today. If you did want to know anything more, just leave it in the comments or like the video, message me, come meet me on the Dino PC forums, however you would like to talk to me, and I will answer them back in another video or by messaging back, plain and simple. So thank you all for watching. I hope this has been very good for you to see, and I look forward to see you next time. Thank you. Goodbye.